Hey everybody, what's happening? This is Snake Sable from Skid Row, and you are watching 80s Metal Recycle Bin.
Audie Desbrow, Great White. I was in a band with Tracy Grahava, Tracy G. He played with World War III and Dio for a little while. And we had a band called Centaur. And we were looking through the Recycler ads. There was a newspaper called The Recycler. They had musicians wanted, bands seeking musicians, and we're looking for singers. So we get this call from this kid named Jack Russell. He goes, I'm 16, man, I can handle all those songs. Can you sing Dio? Can you sing Judas Priest? Can you sing Scorpions? Can you do Rush? Oh, I can do them all, man, don't worry about it. So he comes down, he totally wails on all the songs. I go, all right, you're in, you know. So we did a lot of backyard parties and stuff. And then, people had different directions and different thoughts on certain directions. And it came to an end. We ended up letting Jack go. And I remember his dad worked at this big steel mill, and him and his buddy made us these really cool lights. Kind of like how Van Halen had it back in the day with the little foot switches with the floodlights. We had that kind of setup. And I remember Jack's dad coming to Tracy's house because I was staying there at the time, and he goes, you guys are making a big mistake, man. Jack's going to be a big star someday, man. Well, yeah, right, Mr. Russell, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he takes all the lights, takes off. Months go by. All of a sudden I hear, that was Great White on the radio, right? And I go, that's Jack's band, a KLOS. I go, what the hell? Because he used to call me after we got rid of him, about 3 a.m, all buzzed and stuff with Mark Kendall, all drunk. He goes, man, you got to join me in my band, man. Mark Kendall, the greatest guitar player in the whole world, man. You got to join us. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Hanging up all the time on these guys. You got to join the band. No. And then I hear him on the radio going, what's going on here? So at that time I was in a band with, after we got rid of Jack, we got another singer, and I was playing with Tracy, and then he decides he wants to leave the band. I'm going, now what am I going to do? I go, I got to find a guy who's just as good or better than him, or find a band's completely different direction. All of a sudden I ran into Mark Kendall at this Halloween party, I think. I go, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? He goes, oh, we're doing great, man. He goes, we're getting rid of our drummer, so you should come and audition. And so I go, yeah, okay, cool, And so I remember I auditioned for Great White 5 times in rehearsal. And then they wanted me to learn a new song, create a new song with the band, and then go record it in the studio to see how I can handle, recording, see if I can cut it or whatever. So I remember we worked on this song, and Mark came and picked me up from my studio from the band that I was in, the New Wave band, where I was living in this industrial park. They had a little office with this big garage with a roll door. We had all stuff set up in the bathroom, and I joined a gym to use the rest, the shower and all that. So I had a little hot plate. I lived in there with the band, and Mark picked me up, grabbed on my drums, went all the way to Redondo Beach, recorded the song. And I was so nervous because I'm playing to a click track, which I never did before. The whole band's behind the glass with the manager wearing sunglasses and the engineer. And they're just looking at me and watching me. I'm like, just freaking out, going, I hope I'm doing right, So I remember hearing that the engineer goes, that guy's never going to cut it. You should just forget about this guy. We were leaving, and there was a lot of traffic going back, and I had to rehearse with the band I was in that night. And it was like minutes before the band was going to show up, and we finally got there, and I unloaded all my drums. I go, just take off, man. So I got all my drums on the riser, and these guys are walking in. They go, what's going on? I go, I just did a studio, I did a studio session. I made a couple $100. So that's why I'm setting my stuff up. They're, oh, okay, cool, And then a few days later, I get a call from the bass player, Lauren Black. And he goes, man, come on, man, we got a check waiting for you, man. You're in the band, man. Just quit that job. I remember I just hung up my keys, left the gas card there, and just took off and never called them and told them I was leaving. And I was making way less money in Great White at the time when I was making it at that job. But I'm like, hey, I'm getting paid to do what I love to do. So that was worth it. What had happened was when I met him, after the first rehearsal, I was given a ride home to his parents in Whittier, and we were in La Puente where we rehearsed. give him a ride home in my van. He goes, hey man, want to do Duster? I'm like, Duster, angel dust, man. I go, God, I haven't done that in like years, And he goes, just pull down here, man. So we pull down the street, and all these skinhead guys come out and pedals. Hey, Jack, man, you owe me $10, man. Blah, 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 blah. He goes, man, just from me, one little dipper, man. And so he grabs this little pinheaded joint, and we pull down the street about 2 blocks from his parents' house, and I took a couple puffs off that. I was like, oh, I didn't know how far my depth perception was off. Everything was all distorted. I'm going, what the hell have I got myself into? And so I made it to his house, dropped him off, and I made it back to Tracy's house at the rehearsal place. I don't remember anything after that, but being on Angel Dust, this was a story I heard because I was never there, but Mark told it to me several times that he would go out and hold drug dealers up for their dope. So he went to this one rich guy's house that they found out that he had a bunch of cocaine. So he went to the house with a mask on, with a gun, all messed up on Angel Dust. And this maid answers the door. He goes, where's the coke, bitch? She goes, oh. And she ran into the house, and he followed her in there, and she goes to the kitchen, opens the refrigerator, goes, we have no coke. He goes, I'm talking about drugs, bitch. And she freaks out and runs into this bedroom, and he shoots through the door. The bullet goes through the door, and this lady had this religious medallion on, and it hits the medallion, and it doesn't kill her. It just knocks the wind out of her. That's what I hear. So he's going to go to jail for armed robbery and attempted whatever. I don't know even what his charges were. But his parents got this really hip lawyer, real expensive lawyer. He goes, Your Honor, this guy's going to be a rock star someday. He's using that same, he's going to be a rock star someday. Oh, well, then you're excused, sir. But yeah, for somehow, the judge wanted to give him 8 years, and he ended up doing like a year and a half. He came out talking like a cholo. Well, so we had Jack, and then we had a lot of problems with sobriety and stuff. So, for 2.5 years, we can't get rid of the main sound of the band. Jack Russell in the 80s he couldn't be touched. He was the man. I was proud to be behind him, playing the drums, going, this guy's a motherfucker, man. He's awesome. Yeah. He's got a great voice. He can command the audience. He's jumping around. He's healthy. It's great. And then things started deteriorating, and then we're like, what are we going to do? We can't just get rid of this guy. And then one day, actually a couple times, he just canceled. He just, I'm not going. So we went anyways. And these were fairs, state fairs or county fairs or whatever. So we're already there, and we do the sound check, and then my manager would call the promoter and go, hey, look, man, Jack's not going to be able to make that show tonight. He's at the hospital. Doctor says there's no way he's going to make it. But the band's there. You can totally still do the show. They can sing it. He goes, okay, might as well. So we did that 7 times to save ourselves from being sued by promoters. We had some shows in Europe, and we had Paul Chartino front for us in Europe, which I thought was really strange. It just didn't fit. He was a great guy. He could sing, and we did the shows. We made the money. We got, the whole nine. And then we ended up doing a stint with Janie Lane. And I'm like, Janie Lane, God, I don't know, The thing that was lucky for us is his girlfriend was a huge Great White fan. She knew every lyric, every phrase, how it all went. So as he's learning our song, she was going, no, you got to sing it like that. So he learned it verbatim, like the record, notes, everything. And I was so impressed. I go, wow, this guy studied. He didn't just like Paul Chartino, I'll just do it however I want. It's kind of in the realm. And he just totally did it like he was doing a tribute band thing. So I go, wow, this guy's really talented. He went up there and he fronted all his songs with acoustic. So we had him for a while, and then he had one more date to do with us, but that's when he died. We had some time off, and then he died. And then our booking agent suggested Terry Luce. So, we knew Terry from XYZ, and the first show we did out in, I think it was Hermosa Beach, I was going, wow, this guy can handle it, man. This guy can hit the notes. He can sing the parts, no problem. And I think we had him for 8 years, but the whole 8 years he was in the band with us, every day I would get mail. You got to get another singer. You got to get Jack back. This guy's, he's not right. He doesn't fit. He doesn't look, He's this Italian kid, French guy with dark hair. Everybody's used to seeing the surfer guy from California. So it's like this European guy can sing the notes and everything, but people weren't digging it. But then after him, Michael found Mitch Malloy, and the guy who was in Van Halen for 2 seconds. And it was so weird because we did a Monsters of Rock cruise, and Terry invited this guy with his white teeth and all his hair, who I'd seen on the ship. I'm going, who is this guy? His big white teeth and his hair. And all of a sudden he's on stage with Terry singing Once Bitten, Twice Shy. And the next thing I know, he's a singer. And so we had Mitch for 3 years, and it was so funny because, a lot of people liked him. I mean, the girls liked him. All of a sudden we had all these girls in the front row like, ooh, this guy with the long hair, But it just, writing-wise, it wasn't on the same page. So we just both parted ways at the same time, pretty much. It wasn't a firing. He just decided to leave. We decided it was fine. And then, so we're out with the singer, had a singer again. And then I have a good friend of mine from Florida who was investing in Mitch Malloy's side project. He had these young kids called All or Nothing there. And he goes, dude, there's this guy that can sing. He can totally handle your songs. His name is Brett Carlisle, who's the singer of that All or Nothing, who he still is right now. And so we never rehearsed with the kid. He's 20. He just turned 27. And his first show with us was in Las Vegas, and he just totally nailed it. People were just so blown out. I'm going, this is great. And he loves it, and he's been in the band a little over a year now, and we're going strong. Even the audience goes, I can see you guys are just like really happy now and just, feeling good about everything. And it's great because of his age. He has the vocal ability that Jack had at his age. Yeah, the kid can handle, he loves our music, and he has no ego. He's just a straight, he doesn't party, he's not into drugs. He brings in all these, he's got a following of his own. He's from Birmingham, Alabama. And he brings in a whole new generation of kids. Well, growing up, the Beatles, Ringo Starr was my main guy. I wanted to be like Ringo. I saw Help, that movie, 58 times as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to live that movie. I had the first 4 Beatle albums. And then when they had the Columbia House Record Club, I got Free and Grand Funk Railroad, Santana, those kind of bands. So I grew up with all that kind of music, But besides Ringo Starr being my number one main influence at that time, when I started getting older, I loved Don Brewer from Grand Funk, Mitch Mitchell from Hendrix, Ginger Baker, and who else am I thinking of? Oh, and Keith Moon. And then Bill Bruford from Yes, which is a total left field. When I was 13, I got the Zeppelin albums, and I'm like, wow, yeah. But yeah, definitely John Bonham. And then later on, I was really into Tommy Aldridge's playing. At one point, I could do like Yes songs and King Crimson. I would verbatim know all that weird stuff just by feel. Now it'd be really hard for me to do it because I'm just so used to just chopping wood, But a combination of progressive rock drummers and then like Keith Moon, is just reckless abandon, just energy, But Bonham, great. Those are the typical people you're gonna say like, Neil Peart and John Bonham, and I love and respect all those drummers. But the main ones, like I said, were those ones I mentioned. The 60s drummers were our main influences. Back in those days, you could practically solo over the whole song, and it fits.
Yeah.
So then when we're doing the 80s, it's like just keep the beat and let the reverb flow and let the singer go. And do your fills in between his singing. Well, 30 years ago, I was so all about the fame and the partying. I didn't even think about, there was so many times tours that I did that were just a blur, that I feel bad that I wish I would have been more sober to appreciate it. That whole Great Whitesnake tour, the tour that made us go platinum. It was a blur. We're playing 10, 20,000 people every night. And half the time I was out there in a coma, I go, hey, you guys got any blow? Yeah, I haven't been asleep yet. You know, it's just horrible. I look back at what an idiot. You know, Jack and I, we dubbed ourselves the Terror Twins. If anybody wants somebody to join him and getting in trouble, either one of us right there. Hey, you want to go to Central Park in New York and get some crack at 3 a.m? I'll go. You know what I mean? Shit like that. We almost got killed, man. I was glad that it didn't happen for me till that time, because I know a lot of people that make that kind of success in their early 20s end up dead or blowing it, or they're out of the band. So we just go in there and hash it out, and then put stuff on tape and just live with it for a while and see what works and what doesn't. Because we want to get something new out with our new singer, you know. So we hope to do that on the time off, because we already have shows all the way through September, spread out like 14, 15 shows, and then he's going to fill them in as we get them. But yeah, touring is the bread and butter of it all. And then plus, you know, it keeps you relevant. You want your fans to come and see you and stuff. And like the last time we were in Europe with Paul Shortino, there was all these kids looking like Lita Ford hair and spandex and leathered out kids with all our albums, like we're this new thing. I'm going, that's amazing. And I go, we owe it to our original fans, the parents who grew up, go, hey, you want to hear some music? Check this out. And then we have people that are our age, and it's so funny. I remember last year, I'm looking at, because we're standing behind the back line right before we're going to go on, right, getting ready to go, and I'm looking at everybody, go, Scotty, I go, look at, everybody's got white hair or no hair. I go, I feel so old right now. It's like, this is us. We've been around that long, you know what I mean?